Mark here from Mark 2.0. As always, my co-host is Brian. And tonight we are thrilled because we have actor Ron Blake out of North Carolina. And without ado, Ron, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for
Ron.
having me.
So great
Appreciate
to
it.
have you. Yes.
Now, we need to start out by asking you how you got into acting. Let's share that story.
Yes. Yeah. So, it's kind of a sad story to me that takes things to heart with me. But, I was working a really good job at the time. I was flying on a Cessna Citation out to North Dakota. And all of a sudden, I got laid off. It kind of wrecked my world. So, my wife, she was like, I got tired of sitting at the house. And she was like, we need to get out of this house. Let's go to Myrtle Beach for a long weekend. So we went down there and met this couple in the hot tub actually one night. And, they proceeded to tell me that they worked some movies in Wilmington. I had no idea that they filmed as much as they do in Wilmington at the time. And I was like, well, how do you do that? And she gave me some websites and things like that. And I started in doing background. I still do that a lot, on the side for some extra money. But she told me how to get cast, and I submitted some headshots and all that I took, and I kept submitting, and finally it hit. And then I started working on Swamp Thing. That was the first show that I ever did, and I got hooked like a drug. It's working on sets it's such a rush, to me. It's not even like work to me.
That's so cool. I remember even the original movie and everything.
It's really sad that show got canned.
Well, one of the characters, we have to talk about this because one of the characters that you were was CDC in Hazmat, right?
Yeah, yep.
What was it like?
I did quite a few different. Go ahead.
What was it like for that role?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I met one of my buddies. He's still a good friend of mine, and we still work on a lot of the same shows. Chevy Cofield. Met a great guy named Rob Fortunato, John Fortunato. Kind of people in my circle. They root for me, and they try to help me out. And it's just I call it the film family.
The cool thing is we've now met two people who are really like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, and then they kind of stumble into this thing and you discover you can have a really nice life. You don't have to be like Tom Cruise. You can have a really nice life. I'm inspired, by the way, by all of this. And I'm just really, really happy for you. You look really happy.
Thank you. And I finally found something that I really love doing. A lot of jobs I've had in the past, I've had some good jobs, but, very stressful, I didn't like
that's
them.
why they pay you.
That's right.
That is fantastic. Can I get a little background information? Where were you born, by the way?
I was actually born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I lived there in my younger years till I was about 12. And my dad got transferred to St. Louis, and that's where I actually graduated high school. And then my dad ended up got transferred again to Asheville, North Carolina. And that's where I did The Last of the Mohicans when I was in college. So
that last transfer paid off. What did he do? They made him transfer all the time.
He worked for Westinghouse.
Oh,
so he did engineering. So he
got
got transferred a lot.
Job. Never. What was your mom like? Where was she?
My mom's fantastic. She's from Pittsburgh as well. She's an Italian. Great cook.
They were supportive of your acting and all that. They were supportive of everything.
Yeah. And back when I did The Last of the Mohicans, my mom was all for that. She's like, you need to get into this. And then I had some producer that was interested in me at the time, and I kind of pushed him off at the time. And I wish I didn't. If I would have started back then, who knows where I would have been.
Oh, how many times have I said that?
Yeah.
What was the set like of Last of the Mohicans and working on that? We want to hear the ins and outs.
Yeah, tell us some stories from behind the scenes there, something that really sticks in your memory, because that's a legendary film.
It really was. And I mean, my eyes were popping out at the sets there. I mean, they had a whole complete fort built, all the cannons. They had these big lights up on cranes, simulating explosions. And it was just amazing to see how they filmed an actual movie. It was one of the biggest productions that they had at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I saw Daniel Day-Lewis, Madeline Stowe. I was in some scenes in front of her. It was
Oh,
really cool.
I'll bet. Would you say it was something that rolled smoothly and you got a lot done quickly, or was it full of glitches or anything?
I personally didn't see any glitches. Michael Mann was the director from Miami Vice, a really well-known director. It was long hours. You know, we worked 16 hours a day. I had blisters on my feet because we had
Mm-hmm.
that. We were filming in the summer at the time, and I had these hard boots on my feet, wool coats. I mean, we were just pouring sweat.
Ooh, agonizing.
Yeah,
Well,
but
you
it was
earned your
so
money on
cool.
that one. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
where it pretty much started for you.
it did, but I never did anything after the fact.
Mm.
I never thought twice about it, but my mom always told me, she's like, you need to get into movies. And then I finally got into it. And, she sees the struggle that I've gone through so far since I started this. And she's like, maybe you should have stuck with that job and this and that. And I was like, Mom, it takes time. She thinks I'm going to be an overnight success, and it doesn't work that way.
Well, what have you learned since then? Well, what happened in between then, and then what did you learn since then?
What I've learned so far since I've restarted this, I pretty much developed my own system. When I started doing the background, I developed my own system to where I always seem to get seen by the director or the producer, and they're like, "Ron, come with me." And now, all the crew down there pretty much circles back around on every production, so everybody knows me, and they know I do a good job. I'm passionate about everything, and I don't cause trouble.
William had that same vibe, and he
Yep.
even said, "Don't be a pain in the ass and be easy to
Nope.
work with and be friendly, and everybody else is going to just get pushed to the side because you're such a sweetheart, and stuff like
That's
that,
that's
and you,
exactly
mm-hmm. Yeah, go on.
that's exactly what happens. I mean, they know I can deliver, and they know people down there that can deliver. Like my good friend Rob. He's been pulled out for so many speaking roles. He's worked the Black Phone. He is a great guy. He's a really good friend of mine. He really roots for me and tries to help me, and he's very supportive. I love that guy. I think you should interview him too.
Oh,
Yeah,
we would
would you
love to.
put a good word in for us? We'd love to
I
do
will.
just that because we love the stories. I mean, and this list of stuff you've done here, let me tell you something. There's a lot of things on this list. I keep seeing this. What is that black phone? I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. What was that
Oh,
for
that's
you?
Ethan Hawke
Yeah.
movie.
Wow,
I
Ethan
had a small
Hawke.
part in that. I was a paramedic, EMT in that. A lot of the stuff that I did got cut out, but at the end of the movie, you'll see Mason Thames and the little girl. They clipped my head off, but you can see me through the window and all that. But
Cool.
when things go in the editing, the cutting room floor, a lot of stuff gets cut out. So
I
I
like
did
Ethan
see
Hawke. Did you
myself.
work with him?
He was on the movie. I did get to work with Jeremy Davies.
Cool.
Super nice guy. He kind of felt sorry for me that night. It was pouring down rain. It was cold, and he took the jacket off of his back, and he was like, "Here, take my jacket." I was like, "No, I can't take that." He was like, "Take it." You
Wow.
know, he told he's like, "This guy needs to get inside." And it was just a slop mess when we filmed that night.
That's so cool. You know what this show is doing? It's
Yeah.
showing who's a sweetheart and who's not
Oh
from
yeah.
you nice people
Yeah.
coming in. It's
Yeah.
just so beautiful. Gosh. So what do you think you're gonna be working on next anyway?
I hope I'm working on this one I auditioned for. It's
Oh,
a
you want to
big
talk
one.
about it at all, or do you gotta keep
I
it quiet?
can't say
Yeah.
anything about
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how my chances are for it, but it's a big role.
Well, you certainly got the whole nice guy thing
Yeah.
going. So much luck to you. So Mark, you were gonna talk about where you were going, right? You're gonna be relocating near
Yeah,
what?
no. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Apparently I was
One
supposed
of
to keep
you.
that quiet, but we can
Yeah.
edit that out. No problem.
Yeah, Brian will edit it out. Well, one thing that I wanted to touch upon, it seems like North Carolina, and maybe the same thing. You probably don't know about Atlanta, but it seems
Oh,
like
I
it's
do.
less cut. Is it less cutthroat than LA, or like a place like LA
Uh,
or Chicago or New York, where they're, you know, maybe your people you're working on set, you're competing with each other, so it's big competition. What do you think?
I honestly, I don't know because I've never been in the LA
Okay.
market, but
I've been in the LA market, and I'm not certain that it's like that, but you would think,
mm,
you know, it'd be
I mean,
a lot more cutthroat in LA than.
it's definitely cutthroat in Wilmington. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, when I first started, I tried to help out a lot of people, and I got burned a few times. I mean, I don't mind helping anybody that has a passion for acting, but there's a lot of people that just seem to think that they could be just handed something when they initially just start doing like background, and it doesn't work that way. You've got to work in the trenches. I
What
mean,
does
you've
that
got to
mean?
put your work in.
Let's say I wanted to get into that. What do you think the ground level entry is? What would I be doing?
You would do background work.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you do a good job, they might, you know, you might have a director pictures pick where they feature you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, my friend Rob, you know, he's been upgraded multiple times in the speaking roles. So
Wow.
I
Yeah,
see it happen all the time.
that is awesome. You know what I'm
And
getting out of all these interviews and out of you is that anyone can really do it if you have a good attitude and you're dedicated.
yeah,
You might have to be in a good place. That's why we're kind of grilling you for information here because you know
right.
I would like to get into this. I've always been a musician, but this kind of
Yeah,
thing just
I'm a
fascinates.
musician as well.
Oh, tell
Wow.
us about that, please.
Yeah, I've played the drums since I was like 5 or 6 years old,
Mm.
self-taught. I used to play professionally back in the day, and came really close to making it, and it didn't happen.
You got to elaborate a little bit on that. How old were you?
Uh, I was in my probably mid late 20s, 30s. I mean, we hit the scenes. You know,
Okay,
we
what?
were doing the
Mhm.
southeast, touring around the southeast markets. We ended up recording an EP, and we had the engineer from the Dave Matthews Band interested in recording us, but we ended up
Ooh.
going with Paul David Hagar from the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh, I
So
love him.
yeah, yes. So he came down from Brooklyn and recorded us in Raleigh, and we got this EP out, and we were about to bust it open, and some things happened with the lead singer that was really sad. You know, got into drugs and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It really, it was really sad.
Wow, no wonder you don't really talk about that. That was really a good opportunity, and
It
it just
it
did not
was.
end well.
It could
Wow.
have happened overnight, and it just got ruined.
Well, see, that's why you're so comfortable with yourself. You've pretty much overcome all. I mean,
Yeah.
you get nervous, of course, and
Oh
anxious
yeah.
before something, but you're just like, that's another reason why you're probably going to do really well. You're probably going to get this part you just auditioned for,
I
is
hope
because I
so.
can, yes, yes, we'll say a prayer for you. And then,
Thank you.
yeah, then you come back and tell us all about what's coming, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
yeah.
initially, you know, I started doing the background, and, you know, I still do that. And, you know, on Flatch, I got to use about a week and a half ago my musicianship in one of the scenes.
Mm.
So
Awesome.
we kind of got featured in a band scene, and um, you'll see it when it comes out next month.
That's
Yeah, because you
awesome. You
can't
totally
talk
got to
much
play
about
live.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
I don't want to
anything
speak
about
too
it.
much.
No,
Yeah.
we don't blame you one bit. One thing I wanted to ask, were you over there because I worked on One Tree Hill. Were
Oh
you over
yeah,
there
that was
when One Tree
before.
Hill was filming?
Nope, that was before my time.
Okay. What about any of your
Yeah,
friends on set? Were they on
yeah.
One Tree Hill?
I think Rob worked that. Yeah,
Okay, I was
you
working it.
definitely want to.
Yeah, we'll
You
have to have
definitely
him
want to
on.
interview him. Yeah.
Because I was working it as a 24. It's funny because I was down there. I was working as a 24-year-old high school student. They originally had me in the Karen's
Nice.
Cafe, which would have been
Oh,
great, you know.
that's
But then
cool.
they moved me over to a 24-year-old high school student, and it was a scene where the girl's wearing a shirt, and he goes,
Yeah.
and it said "dyke" on it, and the principal's like, "Remove the shirt or be suspended." And I'm in the background saying, "What the heck's going on in the
Nice.
hallway?" And she removed the shirt, and she goes, "Can you hear me now, Principal Turner?" And we're all just looking at her, you know, looking at her body. It was great, you know. And
Oh
then
my gosh, that's
what's
funny.
funny is I was wearing one of these Tree Hill backpacks, and they're like, "Hey, you know, you should just keep the backpack." you know, and then props
Yeah.
at the end is like, hey, who has all the backpacks?
Yeah.
I had to turn
Give me
it
that
in.
backpack.
It's just such a great vibe in Wilmington, it seems like.
It really is. And, you know, things are really ramping up now. You know, they've got some of the tax incentives now. And I wish we should have had in North Carolina what Atlanta had. We pretty much gave that to Atlanta, from what I hear.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I
Williams
think
said
it's like,
Williams said that with everything that's going on with like their laws and stuff, that people might be going back to North Carolina, the filming industry.
I think some of it will. I think some of it will spill back, but I mean, they've got those major studios down there right now. I mean, like huge.
This
They've
is in
got
Atlanta or
Marvel,
is it in Wilmington? I mean, is it in North Carolina?
Atlanta,
Okay.
Atlanta. Now in Wilmington, you know, we've got several studios in North Carolina, but Wilmington has Screen Gems, which they have a studio in
That's where I
Atlanta as
worked.
well. There's a new studio in Wilmington where we shot the George Jones series, the George Jones show that's coming out. It's called Dark Horse Studios, and I think there's another one that's popping up. But there's supposed to be a lot of films coming later this year.
Now, is Wilmington the hub, or is there other North Carolina cities that they do filming in?
They shoot a lot in Charlotte as well. I think there's a studio out there. But yeah, there's a TV series shooting out there right now with Conan O'Brien, I think.
Wow.
Gosh, I haven't heard him in a while.
Yeah, I think that's who's in it. I haven't gone out there, but I've worked in I worked on the 24th movie that shot out there.
So give me an idea. How long have you been at this now, you figure?
I think I'm going on about 3.5, 4 years.
And you're already doing really well. Good for you. So how do you figure now the amount of entertainment that's out there? It's got to be kind of backed by these new platforms. You know, they're not just streaming platforms, they're studios now.
Yeah.
So explain kind of what you see going on with that from the inside.
What the studios?
Well, you know, like Paramount versus Netflix, or MGM versus Prime now, or you know, Amazon, I should say.
You know, I mean, Amazon. I mean, I tell people I can film a movie. I can film a movie on my iPhone and probably get it distributed on Amazon. Really? You know, Netflix is kind of the, you know, the shit.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix, if you get it, you know, I mean, I've worked with some filmmakers and it's very hard to get something distributed on Netflix. I mean, you've got to have the backing, you got to have a lot of financial backing, an aggregator, somebody marketing. You've got to get that in the hands of the executive of Netflix. So it's very difficult.
Does Netflix have a lot of like jobs available versus like Amazon? Or
I honestly don't know. I work for the different productions.
Yeah,
so
then that's what it is. One thing that I never touched upon, Brian, is like I'd be working on a Fox show, right? Like when I was in LA, I'd work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's a Fox show, but it's filmed at CBS Radford. Go figure, and vice versa. Yeah, Modern Family was a hit ABC show filmed at Fox Studios. And you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, no kidding. I never understood. See, I only did music stuff, and so I'm asking a bunch of silly questions.
Growing Pains, Growing Up Growing Pains, right? It was filmed at Warner Brothers, and it was an ABC show.
Wow.
So you name it, they interchange each other and vice versa. Seinfeld was filmed at CBS Radford.
Mark and people like you were teaching me stuff all the time. This is crazy. Wow, that's really cool. So, do you go to California at all? No one ever says California at all. Is everybody just flying there? Or what?
No, I haven't gone out there yet. Haven't gone to New York either.
That's a good sign. He's not gone out one time. Not to New York or California.
I think more people are shifting towards the other areas. What do you think?
Yeah,
well, it's hard to live out there.
I'll be quite honest with you. The Atlanta market, I think I call it the new Hollywood. There's like,
and we asked William about that, and he goes, "Yeah, at one point I thought that, but now I don't think that because of all the laws." But
what I got out of it, he said it was like that now, but things are moving to where you are now.
Right on
I kind of got more
of
of that vibe.
I think so.
Yeah, like you're in a good spot because like all that Atlanta action is kind of overflowing in your direction or something like that.
Yeah. Some of it, I think there was like 250, 300 productions going on down there. Like it was insane. I wish we would get that here.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
it's not what Atlanta is yet here.
No kidding. Wow.
Hopefully it will be soon with that new studio. And I think they're talking, I read an article, they're talking about doing a state of the art studio. I think to maybe, I hope some Marvel stuff comes.
Oh wow, that would be great.
Yeah.
Wow. That studio should bring a big increase.
Yeah, because I think they're building some state of the art LED panel studio. With the big LED panels.
Do we know who exactly is building that or no?
All I know is I've worked down there. I don't know who owns it. It's called Dark Horse Studios.
What a great name.
Yeah.
Yeah, already it's mysterious. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really busy in Wilmington now. I read a few news articles where some of the homeowners down there, when we block the streets off, are getting a little upset, and because what's going to happen is if people start complaining, they're going to pick up and move and go somewhere else. How much money is being generated for that economy is unreal. I mean, millions of dollars, a lot of jobs are being created, and people don't look at the overall picture.
Yeah, they better get that figured out. They don't want to make a bunch of people mad. Yeah.
Right. I'd be fine if they came where I'm at.
Now, how far away do you live from Wilmington?
So I'm about an hour and 55 minutes from Wilmington. So I make that drive all the time. And with COVID going on, with this show, I've got to go down 3 times a week every other day and COVID tests.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's the nature of the beast. I have to do it.
Well, what was it like 3 years ago when?
Well, we didn't have to COVID test, but you got booked and you just went, or if you had a fitting, you had to go to the fitting, and you did that. But there's a lot of other factors in place now, and they're really strict with the COVID. I mean, SAG's got mandates now, I think, and we got to test, and it's still popping up.
Yeah.
You just gotta safety is, you gotta be safe on these sets, and you gotta wear a mask. When you're filming, you take the mask off. When they cut, put the mask back on. It's aggravating, but I've gotten used to it now.
Yeah.
So
have you been in any student films at all?
Yeah, I did well, there's the first short that I did. I was working on when I started doing the background, I'm like, I want to start acting. So there was one guy named Seneca Robertson. He's out of Charlotte, and he does like some stunt coordinating. And I started liking all of his material, and he's like, Ron, I'm going to get you down for one of my shorts I'm filming, and it's called Jack Shed. It's on it's on a lot of streaming services, and I don't even know if it's on YouTube anymore, but you might be able to YouTube. It's a short. It's really cool. We've talked about maybe pursuing that more, continuing that short, because it got picked up by, I think, DirecTV, and it's on Amazon Prime, and a couple other streaming services. But that was the first thing that I did. And when I first came on set, I never really acted before. So, and I was playing this pissed off neighbor named Tim, that this killer across the street killed my dog. So, I met this guy, Phil Smith. He's a good friend of mine now. He coached me and clicked me into the character. And he was like, Ron, I've taught a lot of actors. And he said, I see something in you. He's like, you've got something in you that I see that a lot of actors I've taught didn't have. And I was like, really? I said, to this day, he's like, do you believe me now, Ron? He's like, do you believe me? I was like, yeah, maybe a little bit, but I'm kind of modest,
You were already a performer,
Yeah.
And you were comfortable. And I think the jitters get people more than anything, the fear.
Yeah.
And you're kind of comfortable, and you're a natural, definitely a natural.
That's what he told me. I mean, a lot of people have told me I'm a natural, and I honestly, acting, I tell people it's not very difficult. I'll snap into a character, or if I need to. I'm actually doing we're doing a full feature. I think I got to shoot in 2 weeks. Where I've got a heavy supporting role in that. I've got to pull a lot of emotions. I've got to cry, and I end up getting a knife in my throat.
Oh,
But I'll let you guys know when that
nice
comes
scene.
out.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
great. You'll
Yeah.
have to come back on.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a challenge as well. But I kind of pull emotions from parts in my life. I mean, I can just snap into a character like that. And especially when I got to pull emotions, I almost lost both of my parents years ago in a car accident. And, if I need to snap into something, all I got to do is think about that. And, my mother's a walking miracle to this day.
Oh, bless her
So,
heart.
yeah. So, yeah, I've had a lot of stuff happen to me in my life. And, I just pull things from parts of my life and put it into action.
You got these
So,
things going though. You're right on the verge of something, I think.
And it said on IMDb that you had stunts. You have stunts experience, right? Talk
I've
about
done some
that.
I've done some stunt stuff. I did some stunts in Jack Shed. You guys would probably laugh at my role in that. I opened it up and I ended up getting stabbed to death. And I did some stunts. That was the first thing I did. And then I worked this movie called A Small Problem, where I was this goon, with a gun shooting at these other people. And I did some heavy stunt stuff in that, where I was rolling on the street and, firing the gun, and, we were having a shootout, and it was really cool, peeling out in my car.
Oh, how awesome is that?
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it was
Oh
really
my
good.
goodness.
And the funny thing is, Seneca, he came down and stunt coordinated me, and the filmmaker, Tabitha, she told me, she was like, Ron, if it wasn't for your, she said, you made my movie, and that really made me feel really good. I mean, I get emotional thinking about that, but for somebody to say that what you did made my film, it kind of got me.
It did, because you put your neck on the line a little
Yeah.
bit. You put your heart into it. You wanted to do. Wow, that's awesome.
And the stunt work I did, we didn't have any padding. I did raw. It was all raw, real stuff. And I hurt for about 2 weeks.
Oh, and stunt people are just that kind of people.
Yeah.
They just want it to look real, no matter how much it's gonna hurt.
They do. And see, that's another thing I'm really trying to tap into in Wilmington, because there's some really worldly renowned stunt coordinators that work down there. It's kind of, you have to form a circle. Me and my friend, we always put the circle up. It's the inner circle. You've got to get into a network, and you got to network, because I would say 90% of this business is networking. A lot of the gigs that I've got is from previous jobs I've worked, or they know me and they're like, hey Ron, we want you to be in this, or do this. Can you do this? We've heard that you're easy to work with. I mean, if somebody wants to criticize me, I want criticism. I want somebody to tell me if they don't like what I'm doing, So I'm not a jerk where I get all snippy, if somebody gives me a criticism.
Well, there are a lot of people that aren't, they're just not quite there, and they're trying to hide it, and that comes out quickly and it shows. But you and the stunt guys, it was Samuel McCrae, who worked on Bullet Train, who was talking about how Brad Pitt's stunt double ended up directing that, and that people in the stunt business just end up making these films and stuff and getting behind the camera. And you're just kind of making it make sense, because it takes people like you who just really are like, you know what, I'm going to get this shot. We're going to roll this car just right. And God knows what's going to happen, but you know what, we're going to try it anyway. And it just takes a special person, I think, and that's awesome.
And, I try to do a lot of stand-in work now lately, great. Because I want to get a role, but I've done a lot of stand-in. And
explain to the listeners what a stand-in is.
What a stand-in does is, you stand in for a particular primary principal actor, and you that's considered second team. First team are the principal actors. So what they'll do is the first team will come in and they'll do a rehearsal. We get the sides, we got to jot. I jot notes, and Rob actually taught me to be a really good stand-in of what I am today. He taught me everything, I write notes down from the rehearsal, and then, he and I like to memorize the dialogue, because there's been many times where I've done stand-in where they want you to do the dialogue. There's some stand-ins that just do stand-in that don't want to act, and then they look like fools when they ask you to do the dialogue because you didn't memorize it. So you try to memorize it to the best that you can. And what they do is, when you stand in, the cinematographer's setting up the frame, getting lighting right. You try to be the same height and weight of the actor. You don't have to look identical to them, but they set up all the frames. And that's one thing additionally that, I like to study the grips, the lighting, what lenses are being used. Rob is more of an expert than I am. He's like, oh, they're using a 50, that's a 75.
That'd be great work. And someone's bound to see something, how great you are.
Yeah. So, and then I've done some photo doubling as well. I photo doubled some actors. I photo doubled Clark Gregg.
What is that exactly?
You're pretty much the actor's photo double. Like if they do a driving scene or something, the actor normally don't do that. Like I did a driving scene. Yeah. I did a driving scene, and then I was like in a bus, and you're a lookalike. They kept getting he and I mixed up, and they're like,
oh, that's good.
People were coming up, they're like, I said, finally I find somebody that looks like me. They're like, Mr. Gregg, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm not Mr. Gregg.
That's awesome. Oh, we don't have to CGI his face.
Yeah. But it was really cool. I like doing the stand-in work because, if you do get to deliver the dialogue, it's basically a free audition. That's how I look at it.
That's a great point. I never thought about it that way.
You're getting a free audition, and being a stand-in, you're up close with all the high-ups, with the DP, the director, first AD, second AD, all the important people that you want to be around,
and people
and they get to know you.
There saying nothing.
Yes. So they get to know you by name. I mean, they know me by name down there. They're like, if somebody messes up, they'll be like, hey, Ron or Rob or whoever, that's good. Hey, we need you to come in, clean this up, or whatever.
That's awesome.
So can you fix this or help them? I still try to be helpful, but I've had to put my guard up to an extent. I've had people take advantage and, well, how did you get that? And how did you get this? And I'm like, it's not rocket science. If you figure out, it's very easy to figure out the system. You just got to figure it out and work it.
Yeah.
It's not like a game. You just go in there and do the best you can and try to stand out from the other people.
Well, that kind of inspires me, because you're not sitting here saying, well, you have to know somebody or you have to do that. Of course, that's not going to hurt or something like that.
It does help a lot. It does help a lot. I'm not going to lie. It does help a lot. I would say 90% that helps. But if you go in and simply listen and do and follow the directions, there's so many people that just can't follow a simple direction.
Great.
Don't look into the lens.
No kidding.
Unless they tell you to,
Oh yeah.
I know
that's what William said. Yeah.
Halloween Kills, I did a scene where they actually told me to look into the lens like that, but it didn't make the cutting floor.
Felt odd, probably.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. I bet that was a great fun movie.
Oh my gosh. That was a pinnacle movie to work on, work with Jamie Lee Curtis. And I did some medical technical advice because I used to be, I'm still a respiratory therapist. So I've got a strong medical background, and things I've done in the past, I'm actually realizing I'm pulling in the film. So I got to do technical advising for some of the hospital scenes in Halloween Kills. And it was awesome to hear Jamie Lee Curtis and David Gordon Green, they're like, yeah, you did a great job setting that, I mean, it was, there. Oh, I got one story to tell you. We had this mob scene in the hospital. I don't know. Have you seen the movie?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. Yeah.
I've seen probably
Yeah.
all the other ones, but I have to see
Yeah.
this. I will.
So we had this big mob scene storming down the hallway, and the camera was kind of like here, and Jamie Lee Curtis was here, and they asked me to do a cross in front of the camera. Well, the shot was so tight that I went by and smacked her shoulder. I smacked the shit out of her, and we cut. And she's the executive producer on it as well. She said, "Who hit my shoulder?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'm done. I am done." I did like a 10-day run on that movie. And she's like, "Who did that? Who hit my shoulder?" I was like, "Miss Curtis, I'm so sorry. I had an accident." And she was like, "No, it's fucking brilliant." She said, "Keep doing that."
That's great.
It's in the director's cut, and she told me, she said, "I guarantee you this shot is going to be in the movie." It's in there, and I'm just like, bam.
Oh my
goodness. She's got the butcher knife. I mean,
I have been watching her my whole life. I'm well over 50, and is she cool? She sounds great.
Oh, she was fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. Out of everything I've done, she was the most amazing person to watch act. Like, she did not miss a beat. She was phenomenal.
Why does it make me so happy to hear that like nice people? Because I've been watching my whole life, and sometimes I hear that they weren't nice, and I'm just like, oh, really?
She actually, Jamie Lee Curtis used to come into. I used to work at the Beverly Hills Whole Foods. She actually used to come in all the time.
Nice.
And I remember giving her my business card, and she said to me, "I'm not in acting anymore." And then I'm like, she was super nice. They're not just gonna hook you up with a role or something. What was I thinking to begin with? But and then right after that, she was in Scream Queens on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, not in acting anymore.
Well, but I mean, think of her parents. I mean, think of her life. It's just like epic. I mean, no one can even live a life like that anymore, being like the offspring of all that. And wow,
she's an amazing actress. Like, I mean, I really, when I get on set, I tell people, I've taken some acting classes, but when I get on set, that's like a master class if you study it. Now, if you do like a lot of the background and just sit in the back gossiping, and you don't ever be quiet, you're loud. I mean, you know how the background is. I'm not trying to ding anybody, but if you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss a lot of things. That's just how it goes.
It's funny. It's funny about background, because there was one movie, I think it was Ted 2. It was either Ted 1 or Ted 2. I think it was Ted 2. And get this. So they say, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?" And they're having free extras. They're not even paying them. What's the issue with having free extras? They are on their phones while they're filming. They have no clue how to be an extra. It was a train wreck doing that. I don't know what they were thinking.
I see it all the time, and there's a lot of new people, and I've seen a lot of new people on this new one I'm working. Try to be helpful to them, because coming in, you don't know unless somebody tells you.
This interview is going to be helpful to someone trying to get into that. They're like, "See, you just got to get in there." William said, "Know when to be quiet."
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to be quiet. You got to be quiet, and you can't gossip. There's a lot of people that do it just to do it, to be in the movie, and they're really, in my opinion, they're really not the best ones to use.
I'm sure the higher ups are thinking the same thing.
And it's the thing about it is, like, I have a lot of friends that want to pursue acting, and we want to work. We want to work every day if we can. And there's a lot of people that they're retired, or they just do it for fun. But we're serious about it.
I think William actually started doing it as a retired thing, but he didn't expect to do as well as he did, and he's just got so many of your same qualities. Yeah, that's really cool.
I've talked to him. I talk to him when I go down there, when he's on set, and he's told me this. He's told me his story, and he's like, you're on the right track. He was like, "How long have you been doing this?" I said, I just hit the grind. I grind it all the time. You know, even if I'm worn out and exhausted. I mean, I've worked I've worked every day on some sets, you know.
Mm.
If I could work every day, I would work it. But,
That's awesome.
you know, it doesn't happen that way all the time.
Is there any
'Cause
sets that stand out to you, or where there's like for me, I remember there was a set we were doing this Silicon Valley. It was Mike Judge, you know, Beavis and
Mhm.
Butthead, King of the Hill.
Oh yeah.
It was Silicon Valley. It was originally called Deep Tech, and then they just kept on bringing me back, and it was Silicon Valley. It's a toga party, and Florida is performing. Well, I'm dressed like Julius Caesar, and it was so there was so many lighting and all this stuff where I tripped over something. It was hilarious.
Oh,
I
yeah.
tripped over something in the scene, and they're like, "Oh,
Mm.
are you okay?" And lo and behold, what did they do? Like a year later, Silicon Valley features me behind the extras in my Julius Caesar outfit, and it says "Happy New Year," something like "Party
Nice.
hard, Happy New Year." I'm like, I'm wondering if they did that because they had a fire hazard set, and I tripped
Yeah.
over and like tripped on my toe.
I've seen that happen with people.
Mhm.
I saw a light almost fall on somebody's head too.
Ay, caramba. Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
What about,
it happens.
You know, I was wondering, like, you see so much TV and it's so high quality now, you know, and you were in that show. What was that? Oh gosh, Hightown.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
So
love
what?
Hightown.
Oh yeah. So how does that compare to like Halloween? You know?
Well, I mean, that Halloween was a full feature, you know. Hightown it's a TV series. So, you know, obviously we film a lot longer than a full
Oh
feature
yeah.
movie. You know, a movie normally takes generally five weeks. They'll knock one out in 4 or 5 weeks and it'll be done.
Wow.
Yeah. Now a TV series run for months. It takes months.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So I like TV series because it's more work, you
Yeah.
know,
That's a
if
good
I can
point.
get it. So yeah, speaking of Hightown is one of my favorite productions to work on, excluding Halloween Kills. I know I worked season 2, I worked season 3 this year.
Could you give me a quick synopsis? What's that? What is that about, really? And,
So
and
it's
what's your
about
part and stuff?
So I've gotten featured on that a couple of times. I typically played a cop. I was a detective this season. And they sent me an email. I got an email from the executive producer and the creator of the show before this started, and I kind of freaked out. I read it probably 100 times, and it said, "We would love to have you come back as a detective, you know, in a recurring role." And I thought I was going to get an actual physical role, but it didn't happen. It came very close, but my friend Rob the last day he got upgraded, and my friend Travis he got to do some stunt work in that. So it's about these cops. There's a lot of crookedry going on, a lot of drugs, sex, strip clubs. My good friend, one of my good friends is in that. Uh, it's kind of a raunchy, crooked cops. You should watch it. It's a really
Definitely.
good show.
Yeah, I'm definitely. It's gonna be fun.
I was going to tell you he's a good friend to me now. He's an actor in it. James O'Connor. He kind of coaches me now. So he lives up in New York, and you know, I took one of his intensive acting classes a couple of months ago, and you know, we became really good friends. And you know, like this audition, I was like, "You mind?" He's like, "Send me the script, and I'll help you." You know, so if I need anything, you know, he's kind of like a coach to me. Wonderful guy. You need to interview him too. He's done a lot of shows.
Send them our way. We're
All
always
successful people have a
looking for guests.
mentor. Yeah.
One other thing about you that Brian and I want to learn about is you worked on one of the Walking Deads. Explain which one you worked on and what it was like.
Oh,
that's a huge show.
I actually got a story about that.
Oh,
so I was at the time I was working really late on Reprisal down in Wilmington. and we had cut, and we were moving to another setup, and I went to check my email, and lo and behold, the director sends an email, and he wanted me to do an audition for this dude that gets electrocuted to his death, and he goes into convulsions. So I'm freaking out. I'm texting my wife. It was late. I was like, "You got to stay up when I get home. I got to record this audition. They want it ASAP. It's for The Walking Dead." I was freaking out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, "Oh my God." So I did the audition. I did not get it, but however, they loved my audition. But what they were looking for was two other almost identical people. So the other guy they picked, they found two other people that looked similar to him. So I told the casting director, she's like, "Well, I can put you in his background." I said, "I'll come up to Richmond for," it was The Walking Dead World Beyond, the spinoff show. I said, "I'll come up and do background." She's like, "Great, I'll cast you for a few days in that." And we went up there, and they had this whole town blocked off, and they had a 737 fuselage just crashed in the town. I mean, the set was amazing. I mean, there was all this rubble and debris on the streets, and so we worked overnight. It was all night shoots up there. And I remember one night, they asked me, they had fire burning in the street with all this. It was a huge crash of a jet, and they had the zombies sitting in the plane seats. They're all dead and
Cool.
I had blood all over my face. I was like an injured passenger. But they're like, "We need you to run through that fire and peel off to the right." So I did it. There were cinders on the ground at the time, so I had to like run and then do a hard right peel right behind the principal actors looking at the fuselage, and I busted my ass in that scene. I busted my ass.
Uh-oh.
And I got back up and just continued. And we cut, and like all these people started coming up to me. They're like, "Holy shit." They're like, you made that so real. I was
Seriously?
like, "It was real."
They left it in.
I mean, the principal actors, I startled them. I mean, they had a reaction when I fell on my ass. So that night I was sitting in an alley. We were on break. I was sitting in this dark alley, and this woman comes up with a whole 8x10 headshot of me. And she's like, "Are you Ron Blake?" And I didn't know the casting director at the time, what she looked like. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm Kendall." She's like, "I just want to personally thank you. I wanted to come up." And she said, "They loved your audition, but they were looking for two other similar people." She said, don't get upset about it." She said, "You did a great job on it, and they loved it." And I said, "You know what? I look at this background, me coming up here, and I said, I look at it, maybe another door will open." And you know what? 7 or 8 months down the road, I got an email from her. America's Hidden Stories on the Smithsonian Channel. She was like, "I want you to audition for 3 principal roles on this show." And I was like, "Okay." I did one and got the principal role. And
Ooh.
it really, I mean, it was fantastic going up there. I mean, they treated me like royalty. I pulled into the parking lot, and "We got the actor on set now. The actor's heading up to the set." I mean, it was really nice. I mean, they treated me like king.
You really got a feeling of that leading man sort of thing.
Yeah, that was a really.
What
cool
was that
project.
exactly?
It's called America's Hidden Stories. It's like a documentary. They do recreations of different things.
Fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
How long did that go?
I shot that in one day.
Oh, that was a one-day thing. Wow.
It was a one-day shoot. Yeah.
Wow, cool.
I've done
That's
done a lot of commercials up in Richmond too. There's a good bit of filming in Richmond too, but not like Wilmington.
What
More
kind
commercials.
of commercials are they?
Oh gosh, I did. I think I did one for Old Dominion, power plant, power company. I did a private government contract company that does cybersecurity for the government. I was like an air traffic controller. Dude, I went up there. I mean, the pay was great. And I went up there. It took me longer to drive up there than it took me to film. And I get up there with all this wardrobe, and they're like, "Holy shit." They're like, "I wish every actor would bring all this stuff." I was like, "What do you mean? Nobody brings anything?" They're like, "No, not really." So they blocked me out for 8 hours to shoot that commercial. And I knocked it out in like an hour and a half. And they're like,
"You're in there to win it."
They were like, you're wrapped. I was like, are you serious? Are you sure?
Wow.
And yeah,
Awesome.
I've done some tourism commercials in Wilmington, several. Gosh, what else did I do? I did a commercial for this. It's like an in-dash camera um, that you put in a car. That actually went to Israel. I never even got to see that. Some of the stuff that I've done, I've never even got to see. But I got to see the cyber commercial. I think it's hit like 3 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's called
You'll
not
have
on
to
your
send that
watch.
to us.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I did some green screen work. You know, it looks like I'm in a control tower, and I
No
did
wonder
some.
people stay busy. There's a lot of stuff to do. And you know, it just
There
makes
is.
so much sense. I didn't even think it through. There's so many companies making videos for both advertising, internal
Yeah.
purposes, and just who knows what go to Israel. One
Oh,
went to
yeah.
Israel.
I
Gosh.
had no idea. You know, I'm
Yeah.
like, where's this going? They're like, Israel. Well, wow.
Oh.
Like just the other night, I saw a casting for a really good paying commercial, and it was for a whole family, a real family. I've got 2 boys. I got a wife. I texted my wife. I said, "You ready to do this? Let's do it." I had to get some shots of my kids, and yeah, needless to say, I thought we were going to get it. We still may get something off that. Who knows? But they cast one family already. But it was at an amusement park down at the beach. And I told my kid, you know, my oldest son, he will not get in front of a camera. He just, and he gets mad. I was like, for this money, I said, you're going to get on camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
You've got to do this. It's all it is like riding rides like you'd like to ride at the park, and eating ice cream and watching fireworks, just having a good time. You know, my wife, she don't care anything about acting, but you know, she would have did that. She was ready.
They'll
So,
follow. They'll follow. They'll
but
see
it's
what the
like, you
real
know,
world is, and they're gonna go, you
yeah,
know what? I'm going after my father.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
If
you know,
they're
when I audition for a lot of stuff, just like that big audition, you know, it's really hard for me not to forget about that one. But a lot of the auditions I do, you know, I'll film it here. My wife helps me. She reads the opposing lines with me, and I submit. I say submit and forget, because if you harp on that stuff, it'll drive you nuts. It will drive you nuts. I mean, this business is an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it's just like this. If I'm not working, I mean, I'm just like about to go crazy.
well, you prepared for all this. You know, you had the band, and then
Yeah.
that thing happened, and you were really sitting on
Yep.
something that was really rare, and you said, you know what, I'm not going to let this one go.
Yeah.
And you know, it just that whole bad thing in the past just made you who you are today. It was
It
all for a
it
reason.
really has. You know, my wife tells me that all the time. You know, when I got laid off, she actually said that to me. You know, she said things happen for a reason. And I'm going to get emotional when
And you
I get
got a
emotional when
great
I tell
family
that.
too. You're extremely blessed.
I
Yes.
am very blessed that my wife puts up with me doing this crazy adventure, and I call it crazy. But I am determined that I'm going to make it in some way, somehow.
I love it.
Mhm.
This is great.
You
Yeah.
got the positive
And
thinking. You got the
I,
quantum field on your side. You
and
know what?
I love inspiring people. I hope one day, this is one thing that I do want to do, is I want to be that actor that goes to the university graduation and tell my story. It chops me up
That's a
to tell
great
that.
point. I never even thought
I
about
Awesome.
want
that.
to I want to inspire people. If I could just inspire one person, you know, I'm happy with that.
You
But
got me, guy, right here. I'm
Yeah.
fully
yeah,
inspired. Yes, I am.
you can do it as well. You know, anybody can. You know, you got to focus, and just
Yeah,
it's
William
not
taught
it's
me that they're looking for old people.
And
hey, you know, this business, it doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter what
great
you look
point.
like. Everybody has a look, you know?
You know what? I'm in your debt for this information. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I
It's
mean,
great. No, it is inspiring, and somebody's going to see this and go, "Damn it, I can
I
do
hope
it."
so. Yeah, I mean,
You
anybody
are
can do
helping people
this.
right now. I believe.
I t-
In my heart, I believe it.
I tell people, they're like, "No, I can't act." I'm like, "You're acting right now." us having this conversation, we're acting, really, because
Definitely.
you don't want to show that you're acting, because if somebody says, "Oh, they're acting," then you're not doing your job. You want it to be real, just like we're talking right now.
That's
You know,
actually brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, and James O'Connor, he's really helped me a lot in that class, and I'm really trying to. I kind of have a southern twang from living down here. It's really hard to get rid of, and he's like, "You got to get rid of that accent. You got to get rid of that accent." It's really hard. But if I do like an audition now, I mean, I seem to somehow snap out of that. So
Well, everything went from West Coast to the East. It was bound to happen
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I mean, I think way more stuff is being filmed in Atlanta than L.A. I mean, I may be wrong, but
No, but I think you're right. Whether it be less restrictions or whatever it may be, it's cheaper, of course. The
yeah.
money has to have an issue because when I was there, people were shooting up to Vancouver. Productions.
Oh yeah.
I was working on Supergirl. I'm a tech right up in the cave or whatever, on Supergirl over there at Warner Brothers. And then what happens next season? They move it to Vancouver.
Wow.
Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver.
Oh,
Supergirl's filmed in Vancouver. What's funny is Smallville was filmed in Vancouver too. So
wow, you're
maybe
pretty
they used
lucky
the
to
same
be
sets.
basically staying in the same area. I mean, a 2 hour drive is not so bad.
Yeah, and I've gone to Charleston, I've gone to Savannah, I've worked down there as well. I have not gone to Atlanta yet. I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to Atlanta. I'm not doing background there. It's too far. But I'll go for a day player. I'll be there in a heartbeat.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, we usually call it at about an hour, so if you got some viewers on this video, we get some views, is there anything you want to say to the people that are viewing this video?
Yeah, the best advice I can say is, anybody can do this. It's up to you as far as you want to go in this business. Yeah, I do recommend taking some acting classes. It does help. I recommend taking, I took a class on, how to self tape, how to frame your shot, how to, lighting. You see my lighting. I mean, I've got a bunch of lights, and I'm kind of a lighting nerd, so I love lighting. That's why I want to do
Yeah,
the
we're
black
learning.
backdrop tonight. Yeah, so yeah, I've studied a lot of lighting. Do start out doing background. I've seen multiple people, on matter of fact, on their first day get upgraded into a like a U5 or under 5 line, a few words in a show, and they get a contract, get SAG voucher. I've seen it happen multiple times, and I'm like, damn, you just came for your first day. It happens,
Wow.
and you can't get jealous of other people. That's one thing that I don't do. I try to support people and show support, because it's really hard. And where I live, in my area where I live, it's been really hard because I've had a lot of friends that I thought were friends that as soon as I started doing this, it was like, make fun of Ron. Oh, this is a joke. He's just an extra, and it hurts. And I've known people for 20 some years, and they just think it's a joke. I'm here to tell you, I'm going to prove you wrong.
I love it.
It may take a good while, but I'm going to prove those people wrong.
Well, I'm learning a whole lot, so I'm sure they don't know what pretty much all about the insides and the ins and outs and what you've gone through
Yeah.
in your whole story and stuff like
Oh
that. And
yeah.
how dedicated you are and how crappy everybody else is. If they saw how great you are compared to everybody else, they would be like, yeah, man, you probably are going to make it.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can make it. It's your attitude, and how you perceive things, and
you've
what
had
are
some
your
of those
goals?
great days where you just got noticed, man. You just got noticed, and
Yeah.
so you don't feel jealousy when somebody else get
No.
noticed, besides they might help you down the road too.
Look, my friend Rob, when he got upgraded on Hightown, I was so happy for him. I mean, he did the man deserved. he's the hardest working stand-in that I've ever seen. And a lot of people talk. Some people talk trash, and I'm like, I'm not going to put up with that. I'm like, somebody said the other week, he never sits down. I'm like, you know why? Because he's always studying and he's focused. He's
got that quality.
working.
Yes, you both.
He's
Yeah,
working.
we need to talk to him. You're gonna try.
Yeah, you do definitely need to talk to him. He's
Yeah,
been
I'm
he's
looking
been in a
forward to
lot of
it.
stuff. He's a mentor to me. I really highly respect that guy.
That's
He's going
awesome.
places as well. He's done a lot. He's done a lot of speaking roles in some big productions.
This is exactly what we're
Yeah.
looking for, guys. Who are gonna go somewhere soon.
Yep.
This is great.
I mean, I'll
we
be
really
honest.
appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well.
We're thrilled, and we'd like to end it at that. And so Brian doesn't have to edit it out. You may see me pop up. More likely, you'll see me pop up in Wilmington.
Hey, hey, I hope you
when releases
do. We'd love to work with you.
And we want to. We'll make sure to share out your Instagram because people need to follow you, Ron.
Yeah,
we
please
see
do.
Big things
Yeah.
happening in your future, and this is just a thrill to talk to guys like you.
Well, it's been an honor to be invited on the show. After I watched Williams' interview with you guys, and I listened to that whole thing, and he's an inspiration to me.
I think half of North Carolina listened to it too. He shared it out, and Atlanta.
Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we've taken enough of your time. We hope to have you back real soon.
And
well,
as
thank
always,
you very much.
We are Mark 2.0. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube because then you can put a face to all these stars and to us. To
Get a look at the handsome Ron Blake. Yes. All right,
Mark
we'll see you again
2.0.
real soon.
Look
Thank
for
you,
the
guys.
Blue Moon logo on YouTube. Thanks so much.